Hello there, fellow Monster Madness ghouls and goblins. You're currently hearing the voice of a girl with no name, and it's here with very, very clear intentions to sound the alarm. Before you listen any further, beware that frightful spoilers and deliciously explicit language lie ahead. For once you find yourself in the midst of those telltale bumps in the night and the haunting howls of host laughter and cinematic judgment, there is no turning back. Choose wisely.
What's that noise?
Popcorn.
You making popcorn?
Uh-huh.
I only eat popcorn at the movies.
Well, I'm getting ready to watch a video.
Really? What?
Oh, just some scary movie.
You like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
I don't know.
You have to have a favorite. What comes to mind?
Halloween. You know, the one with the guy in the white mask who walks around and stalks babysitters?
Yeah.
What's yours?
Guess.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Is that the one where the guy had knives for fingers?
Yeah, Freddy Krueger.
Freddy, that's right. I like that movie. It was scary.
Wow, well, the first one was, but the rest sucked.
So, you got a boyfriend?
Why? You want to ask me out on a date?
Maybe. Do you have a boyfriend?
No.
You never told me your name.
Why do you want to know my name?
I want to know who I'm looking at.
What did you say?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Monster Madness, a podcast dedicated to all sorts of creature features and beyond. My name is Erika Gwynn, and I'm here to welcome you to the show yet again. Join with me are two fellows who know the certain rules that one must abide by to successfully survive a horror movie. We have Matt Stein.
I don't remember what we're doing.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And Daniel Gwynn.
Hello, how you doing?
Before we get into the typical hubbub of the show, we would like to give you our social media plugs. We are on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and all other obscure social media platforms. Matt is on Twitch from time to time, playing a bunch of different games. You find him at twitch.tv/monstermadnesspod. We also have a Discord channel. If you'd like to join that, we talk about an array of topics, everything from the band Creed to what we had for dinner. So if that's something you'd like to partake in, please come and join. All the links will be posted in the show notes. So with all of that...
Scott Stapp, if you're listening, I know you're listening because you're a big fan. Can you please unblock me on Twitter so I can get my Twitter back? Thank you.
Matt's been perma-banned from Twitter just because he made Scott Stapp
Scott
mad.
Stapp blocked me on Twitter and I deleted my account. Okay. It's still a touchy subject.
Shame. All right. On this episode, we will be discussing the film that revitalized the horror genre in the 90s and brought the love of slashers back to cinema and made us all want to get caller ID. We will be discussing the 1996 film
Boner Jams.
Scream.
Oh.
Go.
I watched the wrong movie.
Wouldn't be the first time.
I did. So real quick, and this is kind of off topic, but not really.
Oh my God. Hold on. We're watching Scream.
I thought
We're watching
supposed to
Scream.
watch Stab.
Listen, I am 2 seconds away from calling the police.
They'd never make it in time. We're out in the middle of nowhere.
What do you want?
To see what your insides look like.
Who's there? Who's there? I'm calling the police.
You should never say who's there. Don't you watch scary movies? It's a death wish. You might as well just come out here to investigate a strange noise or something.
Look, you've had your fun now, so I think you better just leave or else.
Or else what?
Or else my boyfriend will be here any second and he'll be pissed when he finds out.
I thought you didn't have a boyfriend.
I lied. I do have a boyfriend and he'll be here any second, so your ass better be good.
Sure.
I swear. He's big and he plays football and he'll kick the shit out of you.
I'm getting you scared. I'm shaking in my boots.
So you better just leave.
His name wouldn't be Steve, would it?
How do you know his name?
Right. But it involves David Arquette.
Okay.
And
David
because
Arquette.
you had sent me the article where David Arquette said that he really wanted there to be a Scream video game.
Mm-hmm.
Which the timing was weird because as of recording this, the quarry just came out and David Arquette's in that game.
Yeah.
but also like there's a Texas Chainsaw Massacre game coming out, and there's the fucking Evil Dead game just came out, which is the world's most difficult game in the whole fucking world. But also like David Arquette's acting abilities did not translate well to the Quarry thus far in the game. Like I'm still pretty early on, but it's like, because I text you and I'm like, it's not great in video games.
Not great in life.
Right, yeah. He did almost die trying to do pro wrestling one time, but that's a different.
Did he?
That's a different. Yes. So,
Story time.
there's a very prominent deathmatch wrestler named Nick Gage who did time in prison because he got hooked on, I think it was meth or crack, and he robbed a bank.
Damn.
His shtick is it's using a pizza cutter to cut people's foreheads open. So like he was on AEW, which is like the current WCW. I'm trying to.
Where does he pull a pizza cutter out from?
He brings it to the ring. Like death matches, like they use light tubes and shit. Like it's pretty intense. But yes. So he was in an AEW match, and then he was doing his pizza cutter spot, and a fucking Domino's ad came up. Like if you Google it, it's there. It's fucking weird. But anyways, Nick Gage wrestled David Arquette, and I believe Nick Gage was like, "Hey man, like this is my world. Stay the fuck out." And David Arquette was like, "No, I can hang." And then he took things too far, and he like cut his neck
Jesus.
in the ring, and David Arquette like got legitimately pissed, and they thought he was gonna bleed out.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking intense. Google it. I just went on a journey there.
We really did.
Oh, close call.
So Scream was released on December 20th, 1996. It was directed by the late and great Wes Craven. It was written by Kevin Williamson. It has a runtime of 1 hour and 51 minutes, and it is rated R. Starring in this film, we have the beautiful Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette, as we just mentioned, Drew Barrymore, Rose McGowan, Jamie Kennedy, Skeet Ulrich, Matthew Lillard, and the Fonz himself, Henry Winkler.
Which I'd like to point out that I cannot think of one movie that Matthew Lillard is in that he is not drooling in.
He has an overactive mouth.
And I love him because I love him in Hackers. I like him in this. He drools in both. I haven't seen him in Scooby-Doo. Probably drools in that because he's fucking just smoked out of his gourd because he's shaggy.
I've seen the first Scooby-Doo when it came out, like what was it, probably like 20 years ago now. But I don't think he drooled in that. She's All That he definitely drools in.
2002 Scooby-Doo came out. So
damn, I was right on the nose. That is just horrifying. Matt, do we have a budget on Scream?
You know what burns my ass? Budget was $14 million. I don't like when they make like this specific Wikipedia for stuff. So like there's a Scream Wikipedia, and it's just a little different. I don't know where things always are.
Is that hard for you?
The gross revenue was $173 million though. So I think the budget was justified.
Yeah, it definitely made its money back. So we're going to get into the plot of this movie. I wrote it myself while watching the movie. I may give up halfway and just go to the Wikipedia page. We don't know how it's going to go, but there's going to be a lot of chit chat.
Well, it looks like the Scream fandom wiki is the description is more along the lines of what you've written. Because you said the Wikipedia is 4 paragraphs. This has got to be 15 paragraphs.
Why don't you just text that to me at the same time, just in case I want to give up? Because there is a part in here where I give up and I just...
so long.
Texting a link is not long.
No, I know, but I'm saying the Wikipedia description on the Scream wiki, not just Wikipedia's Scream page.
Jeez, hers is like 5 pages.
Yeah, mine's like a dissertation.
This is pretty fucking bad.
Anyway, while you're texting that, I'll start. So this movie opens to Drew Barrymore, who is a character named Casey Becker. She's answering a phone call. It just seems innocent. Nothing really, you don't have to really worry about it. Everybody answers the phone. Now, you have to think back to the 90s where nobody had really cell phones. Everything was a handheld or a cord phone, if you remember that. We live in a generation of people that literally have never seen a fucking cord phone, which is hard to believe.
I remember like answering the phone. My parents had them hung on the wall.
Yeah.
And you have to like close the door and like sneak away so you could talk about shit. Yeah. Plenty of corded phones.
So I put my balls in soy sauce and I can taste it.
I can taste the soy sauce, guys. It's fucked up.
Why is it spicy?
Why is it spicy? I fucking love that video.
So good. Why are you not on TikTok making videos like this and making us millions?
Because I just steal other people's stuff.
So what, man? That was so funny.
I know that's kind of like the basis for, but some days I just don't want to make content, man.
Yeah, we didn't make content for like a year. You gotta make up for it. So
this movie is the whole reason that you and I became friends.
It is. Once upon a time, Matt was like, "Dear Erika, I really like your podcast, Apex and Biz. Would you like to come on my show and we'll be friends?" And then now here we are, like 5 years later.
And Alyssa buys you gifts that I have to fucking mail to you.
She bought me something. She doesn't have to do that.
It's more for Watson.
Still, he doesn't deserve it. He's an ass.
Did you see the picture I sent you where my dog fucking tried to come on my shoulder?
Boy, did I. Watched it a couple times.
Watson seems like he's better behaved than Barf.
Not really. When my grandma comes, when my grandma comes over, he fucking tries to maul her. I don't know if it's the perfume.
Grandma's probably a very good-looking lady.
Yeah.
I mean, she ain't bad.
Or she fucking smells like potpourri and he's into it.
He's like, give me that shit.
You smell spicy.
You smell spicy.
You do it so good. Oh shit. Whenever I'm sad, I'm just gonna be like, "Can you send me a voice memo of you saying that?"
Yeah, no, that's fine. I got you.
Emotional support friend. I need the spicy. Casey Becker, home alone, answers her ringing phone. The man on the other end says he must have dialed the wrong number and hangs up. Soon after, he calls again, making flirtatious comments and asking about her boyfriend. At first, Casey plays along, but soon the man starts making threatening and sadistic comments. From there, he goes on to reveal that her boyfriend is tied up on the back patio. Now in control, the caller turns the situation into an extreme horror trivia contest. So, before I get in any further, I'm going to put a pin in it right now, starting off. Do you guys remember the first time you saw this movie?
No. I remember I saw Scream. Hang on, I gotta look up the years. 2 was 97. Oh, not Scream 23, although I'm sure that's coming.
Scream 6 is on its way.
Scream 3 would have been 2000. So I believe I saw Scream 2 first because the first time I kissed a girl was while watching Scream 2.
Precious.
Mm-hmm. She had a real hairy back.
Ooh.
I was in 8th grade. It could have been Scream 3.
Wait.
Depending on the time that it came out.
Why did you know her back was so hairy?
Because I had my hand on her back. Small of her back. 8th grade shit. Like, what do you fucking expect?
You're like, I feel a knot.
That'd be fuzzy. Like, 8th grade girl that I kissed had a hairier back than 36-year-old Matt Stein does. So, so it could have been Scream 3 because it came out February 3rd, 2000. I knew I was in 8th grade, and I graduated 8th grade 2000, so that's possible.
I thought the first time you kissed a girl was watching Titanic.
No. I went to Titanic to try and kiss a girl, and it is unsuccessful. Your boy struck out a lot. Your boy continues to strike out a lot.
Oh boy.
Yeah, if my life was baseball, I would have been done a long time ago.
Well, don't go up to your wife and be like, "I like your hairy back." You be hairy.
Alyssa does not have a hairy back.
Oh boy.
That's good.
Not at all.
That's good.
I would have not married her if she had a hairy back.
So smooth. We love you, Alyssa, even though I know you don't listen.
No, she doesn't listen to us. Yeah, every third Saturday, I'd shave her down like a seal.
Like that Malcolm in the Middle episode? Oh, you remember that?
Oh, shit. There's so much imagery. I can't handle it. Oh, God. Daniel, do you remember the first time you watched this movie?
I think I was at my old house watching this movie.
Like your parents' current house?
Yeah.
Probably with me?
No. I remember just it being on TV.
Nice. So this came out, like we said, in 96. So we were 5 when it came out. I wouldn't have seen it until my brother got it on VHS. However long it felt like VHS took like a year to come out after, a film released.
Back in the day, yeah.
I remember the following no, you're fine. I remember the following Halloween, everybody was Ghostface for Halloween because my brother was Ghostface. And when my parents went out, he let me watch the movie with him when I was 6. And I was fucking terrified. When I was 6, I thought movies were real. So, like, I thought when I saw Titanic and Leonardo DiCaprio died, I thought he legit died for that movie. And I was real upset. Bring it back to Titanic, as always. So in Scream,
He gave the ultimate price.
What's the point of paying them if they're just going to die? So I thought if anybody was in that fucking Ghostface costume, like they were an actual serial killer. Like I didn't put 2 and 2 together. That was my fucking fat ass brother in a Ghostface costume. So I had watched it and I was horrified. And my brother was like, oh, I have to go grab something from the basement for mom and dad. And I was like, okay. And then he went downstairs and like my house was a row home. So like the basement door was in the kitchen and I was like in there probably getting like a snack or something. And he banged on the door. He's like, Erika, can you open the door? My hands are full. And I'm like, sure. And I open the door and I see Ghostface with a pair of kitchen shears and he lunges at me and he stuck them in the door. There was a hole in the door. He chased me through the house up the stairs and I kicked him in the face and he flew down the steps. And then I barricaded myself in my room until my parents got home and he got in big trouble because I thought he was going to murder me.
Oh boy.
Because I thought it was real. So yeah, I broke a nose for this movie.
Damn.
My dedication runs deep. He was really pissed off at me. I'm like, why are you mad at me? I thought you were going to kill me. And why did you actually... He got more in trouble for putting a hole in the door than...
Real scissors.
Yeah. Because they were those big bitches too. And that you fucking see, like, they were huge and sharp as shit. But anyway, let's get back to the plot. So if Casey answers the trivia questions right, she and her boyfriend Steve, they wrote Steven, get to live. They call him Steve. If she fails to answer correctly, they die. As a starter, she answers the warm-up question correctly, which is, who is the killer in Halloween? And if you pay attention while watching this film, they play the theme of Halloween during this part. And it's very cool. Not impressed, the caller then asks her a trick question. Who is the killer in Friday the 13th? Casey quickly answers saying the killer is Jason Voorhees, only to be proven wrong. Jason's mother, Pamela Voorhees, was the film's first killer. Spoiler alert, even though we already covered it. Jason didn't become the killer until part 2. The killer then tells Casey that she's earned a bonus question, but she has just ended her boyfriend's life. A shocked Casey then hurries to turn the patio lights on and finds that Steve has been disemboweled. Now, depending on which version of the movie you watch, sometimes you just see Steve's head go backward and his guts falling. Sometimes you'll see Ghostface running across, or sometimes you'll just see kind of his guts falling to the floor. It's all depending on what channel you're watching and if you have the unrated version or the rated version.
I didn't know that.
I know a lot about this movie.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, like the TV version, like if they play it on like AMC or something, they'll just zoom in on Steve's face so you can just kind of see him going backwards. They won't show him being disemboweled. They might today because things like The Walking Dead are on that channel. We'll have to ask Kevin, but they become more lenient on what they'll show on.
I will text him right now.
I enjoy that man so much. Did you see what he did to get the...
when we were talking before, I was gonna ask if you saw it. His life is so pure.
It's the purest thing I've ever seen. So, friend of the show, Kevin. Hey, Kevin. He posted... We do love you, Kevin, so much. He posted a video on his Instagram today of him lining up his reverse camera in his car with tape on a wall so he always gets the perfect spot when he goes to park his car. So he has like 3 lines that's like, green, yellow, red, you're going to hit the fucking wall. He did green, yellow, red tape to make sure, and he lines it up perfectly with his camera and the perfect spot. And then he says something like, the eagle has landed or something in the video.
The eagle has landed.
The purest man in the entire world. I love him, and I want to give him a hug. You hear that, Kevin? I want to give you a hug.
I mean, I've hugged him.
I'm jealous. Does he smell nice? He seems like he smells nice.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. He's fucking super duper clean. I'm going to hug him again probably when this episode comes out. Actually, by the time this episode comes out, his wedding will probably have passed and it will already have happened.
Wow, the future is interesting.
Oh, man, I don't like thinking about that. So Kevin's response, if it's on AMC, they zoom. If it's on IFC, they don't edit anything.
Interesting. See? I know my shit. Anyway, the caller promises Casey another round, but Casey instead refuses to answer the question. A chair then smashes the patio door windows. As Casey runs out of the house, armed with a kitchen knife, fucking grammar is hard on this. They didn't write it
Grammar's
right.
hard in general.
No, they
so-
didn't write it right, because this is how they wrote it. A chair then smashes the patio door windows, comma, as Casey runs out of the house, armed with a kitchen knife, period. It just doesn't flow right, so it messed up my brain. It's probably written correctly. My brain just didn't register it right, because I'm tired. Right after, she is caught up by a cloaked figure in a mask and is stabbed in the chest. Now on the ground, she is strangled while attempting to call her parents. With her last ounce of strength, Casey takes off the killer's mask and sees his face, or hers. Surprised by this revelation, the killer's identity is not shown on screen. Meanwhile, as Casey's parents return home, they receive their daughter's panicked phone call, only to hear muffled moans on the other end. Instructing his wife to go to the neighbor's house, Casey's father is guided outside by her frantic screaming, as they spot a gutted Casey hanging from a tree in the back garden. Dun dun dun. Okay, so in this scenario, I feel like there's an easy solution to not get murdered. Yeah, they're in the middle of nowhere, and the killer taunts her with that fact, like, oh, she's going to call the police, but the cops won't get there in time. I would run so hard and so far away from my fucking house. I mean, there'd be no way that the killer would get me. But she chooses to stay in the house and, like, circle it, which I get it, it's for the story. But, like, wouldn't you guys... Now, mind you, you two are burly men. You probably could kick the shit out of any type of killer, but especially when it is revealed who the killers are, spoiler alert, they're like lanky fucking high school dudes. Me, probably not. Even still to this day, could fucking deal with that. So I would just run. This is just a scenario where you just skedaddle. It's like in Final Fantasy, you hit the button to fucking just run in the other direction.
Bionic Man.
Yeah. Shut $6 million man. That's a good salary for me.
Oh man, I didn't think there would be a way to fit an Office reference into this episode, and we found a way to do it.
There's always a way to fit an Office reference into this fucking
Everything.
show. Yeah. So, like in this scenario, are you guys like fighters or flighters? Me in this scenario, I'm gauging it out. I'm seeing that there's like fucking cornfields to my left. I'm going on the road and I'm running until I hit a car. And I'm like, there's a fucking crazy dude in a cloak with a knife who's been taunting me for the last 15 minutes. Fucking help me. What do you do? I know what you do. You're going to fucking...
This is my house.
I have to defend it. And you're going to fucking murk him.
Fucking Home Alone? Okay. I don't know. So I've often wondered, like, what is my reaction going to be if faced with something like that?
Yeah.
And I fully understand that I don't know until I'm in the situation. So like I've always wondered, like, well, if I was faced with an I don't want to say an opportunity, a situation where I may have to fight, what would I do? I'm like, wow, fucking fight, I don't give shit. I'm like, but would I though? And then recently, back in April, when I was down in Des Moines, something came up and I thought I was gonna have to fight someone. And I didn't think, I acted, and I fucking went straight towards the threat. So in that situation, I was ready. I was prepared to defend my friend.
That's a big tough guy.
What? We call it Kenny a Wolverine. He's like 5'4" and fucking built like me. Just not someone to fuck with.
Yeah.
He is tough enough tattooed on his knuckles. Yeah. And he works for Wells Fargo Bank. Shout out to Kenny. But that was also a situation in which I knew that I had other people that were there to help me.
Yeah.
If it was a one-on-one, I feel like I would run and make it 100 feet and then fall over because I am not built to run. And then be forced to go.
Give me a minute. Okay, just don't stab me. Just don't stab. We can work it out. I gotta stitch in my side.
Why do you sound like a jet engine?
You want money?
My God. I mean, so the intro of this movie was like shockwaves when people first saw it, because Drew Barrymore was fucking popular in the 90s. You know, Never Been Kissed. She was the Firestarter. She was an E.T. You know, those were way before, but like she was a very popular actress. You know, she flashed David Letterman on late night. You know, she was just like Hollywood's wild child. So the fact that Drew Barrymore actually went into this movie and was like, look, hey, you wanted me for Sydney. She was like, people are going to go into this movie, and if I die first, they're not ever going to know what's coming, and it's going to shock the shit out of everybody. So just I want to be Casey. I want to be that girl, which I always thought was the coolest thing about Drew Barrymore. The fact that, she, one, had that power to go up to Wes fucking Craven and be like, no. This is what you want to do. Even though it's Kevin Williamson's story, Wes makes the final fucking decision. I thought that was ballsy, and I thought it was a really good career move for her and for the whole fucking movie and the franchise. Because that was shocking. At least, I didn't know the gravity of it at the time because I was such a little kid. But having seen so many movies now and, talked about movies so much, like, that is a big fucking deal to do that.
Do you think she would have made it, like, as an actress for that role? It would have been different movie
if she played
altogether?
Sydney?
Yeah.
I think it would have been entirely different. I think she has too much of, like, I don't know. I'm struggling to find the words because after, Scream, I think she did Never Been Kissed after Scream. And then she did like the Charlie's Angel movies and like Fever Pitch and like a bunch of rom-coms. That's how I see her as. Like 50 First Dates is probably one of my favorite rom-coms. Like, it's an actual funny movie that is not like super corny. Yeah, it's an extreme story, but it's really enjoyable because I like the duo of Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore. So you have like also Wedding Singer. She was in that too. And I think that was before Scream, but it's hard. I can't remember all the years all the time, but I see her in those roles really well. I think Casey Becker suited her perfectly because she had like that innocence to her, even though like she was such a wild child back then, or even though she even claimed it herself, like she was kind of like out of control. I see her in that role perfectly. I don't see her as the final girl. The final girl has like a certain edge to them that I don't think that she would have had. But I mean, it's not something we're ever going to see, but I don't know. I don't see it at this point. All I see is Neve Campbell as the face next to Ghostface. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she did Wayne's World 2 in 93.
She's in Wayne's World 2?
And then Batman Forever in 95.
Oh my God.
These are the more popular titles that I'm seeing on this list.
Oh yeah, she was.
Then Scream in 96. Wedding Singer was 98. Charlie's Angels was 2000.
Okay. So like, I mean, she did a lot.
Donnie Darko in 2001. Freddy Got Fingered 2001.
You know what? I take back what I said. I forgot she was in fucking Donnie Darko. She actually is probably she was probably one of my favorite characters in Donnie Darko because I have not
fucking rewatched that movie.
I haven't watched that in a really long time. She plays, a teacher who's having a hard time. I mean, everybody in that movie is having a hard time. And like, I loved her exit in that film. Her last line, I believe, is one of the students asked her what this writing on the chalkboard meant, and she said, of all the phrases in the English language, cellar door is the most beautiful. And then she just, exits stage left. And like, that was a really it was a powerful statement, and it was a really good dramatic role for her. So she may have had the edge now that I think about it, because I completely forgot she did that role. I have to look up more of her dramatic stuff, but I love that she's Casey Becker because Neve Campbell was in Party of Five, and that was a really popular show, even though I've never seen an episode of it. But I think that was really her only claim to fame. And I enjoy when a final girl is not someone that you expect to be. Like Drew Barrymore, you saw her face on the poster and you thought she was going to have a big role in that film, and she was only in it for 18 minutes.
I guess I never realized how short she was in the movie.
It's really short because I think that whole scene at the Becker house is 18 minutes, I think, from start to finish. So, and then you can't count the final frame of like at the end credits where they do end Drew Barrymore as the last, like, because they do at the end of these movies, they do a really cool montage of all the main characters with their names and like the infamous, like what I'll call the Scream font. And then they do like a end Drew Barrymore one. And it's like a really sweet, like, still from the film. Actually gets me a little flip, to be honest with you. I love this movie so much. That's why we're literally only at the fucking intro. And we've probably been talking for an hour and a half. So just bear with me, people. Enjoy the passion. So now we meet Sidney Prescott, a somewhat innocent teenage girl who is fiddling around on her computer in a nightgown, which I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know a single girl that ever wore a nightgown to bed because that shit looks not comfortable with the fucking frills and the lace. Maybe you boys are into that, but that's not a fucking reality.
Nothing gets me hotter than some frilly lace.
That just sounds itchy. Her bubble butt boyfriend Billy sneaks through the window and convinces her into a
bubble butt Billy.
Yeah, that was just a joke because someone calls him that later. Actually, Skeet Ulrich's girlfriend at the time plays a cheerleader in a bathroom scene in this movie who calls him her bubble butt boyfriend.
He came in just like the Dawson Creek guy.
Yeah.
Was that out yet?
I don't want to wait. Yeah, it was. Fucking that show. Billy sneaks through her window and convinces her into a brief makeout session on her bed before she halts his effort to progress any further. Billy wants to lay pipe.
He's got blue balls.
Billy Blue Balls.
I just love the idea where it's like, hey, you want to make out real quick? Like, fuck yeah.
Yeah. I thought we could do some on top of the clothes stuff. I'd be like, fucking shut up, cornball, and just fucking let's make out.
If you don't mind, can we do an over the pants standing hand job?
Can you
that's okay in the Bible.
Can you just rub your hand very vigorously on my dick through my jeans?
Could you stand 6 inches away and just wave your hand like you're trying to put out a flame over my penis? I think that'll do the trick.
Look, I'm going to tell you guys a story. This does not involve me, but it's a story I heard about a girl in my high school.
She like toes?
And I got an over the pants standing hand job at a Cold Chamber concert once.
Back up. What did you just say?
Said I got an over the pants standing hand job at a Cold Chamber concert once.
First of all, I thought you said Coldplay, and I was like, there is so much through this fucking...
My mom was at that concert.
Yeah.
If it was a Coldplay concert, it would have just been much sadder.
Oh
my God. Just listening to The Scientist and getting... Come up to meet you. Sorry.
Chorus always makes me come.
I love that Chris Martin. So there were these this couple, and I went to an all girls high school, and our what they called the brother school was an all boy high school, and everybody like always fucking dated each other from those schools because it's like, oh, this school mingles with these boys, the school mingles with those boys. It was just fucking dumb, but that's how it went. So there was this couple who I genuinely don't remember their names at this point because it's been 15 years, but they wanted to wait until they got married to have sex, but they thought if they basically fucked through his mesh basketball shorts.
Well, now we're dealing with Mormons.
What? I don't know anything about Mormons.
You've never heard of Mormons like fuck garments?
No.
what?
Where it's literally just like a hole in a sheet.
No, there was no
And to
hole.
them-
There's no hole. There's no hole.
Oh no, he used the mesh shorts as a condom.
No, that like he would literally put on his basketball shorts to do this.
Oof.
And then he would bang her. And they were like, we're not having sex. Yeah. Or I also heard the story that eventually they gave up this whole like charade of like, we're not having sex. You're having sex. It's just really awkward and weird and uncomfortable.
Just mesh fuck.
And messy. They used a Ziploc bag as a condom because they didn't want to go and buy
It's
condoms.
got like that crease too.
It has
It's
a fucking sharp edge.
Yeah,
What do you mean?
that crease is gonna mess you
Not
up.
only that, but there was a point in time where I was like, buying condoms is embarrassing. And then I said, no, actually, at the end of the day, when I buy condoms, it proves to everybody that I'm getting some.
Yeah, exactly.
So then I just bought 700 condoms to sit in my drawer so that people thought I was
I'm gonna be
getting
busy this weekend.
some. That pussy ain't gonna fuck itself.
That might be the clip. No, yeah, I remember because I used to work at CVS and I worked all different hours. I used to work at because like you would still have to work at the self checkout. You'd have to stand and make sure nobody's stealing or like help with the machines and stuff like that when they got introduced. And every guy, if they could avoid interacting with a person when they were buying condoms, they would go to the self-checkout. But then like half the time their bill wouldn't go in or their card wouldn't work. And I would have to come over and they're like, oh, I'm sorry. I don't need a bag. Maybe I need a bag. I'm like, it's just condoms. It's really okay.
And
like
a cantaloupe.
Yeah, it's not like you're buying
Sir,
like
you're buying a box of penis bags. It's okay.
Yeah, but like you would think that they were buying those like things that people put on their finger when they have like an injury or some shit. Like, have you ever seen those like little finger condom
Why would you
things?
be embarrassed?
That's what I'm saying. Like, you'd think they were buying something like that. Like, I don't give a shit that you're buying your fucking extra thin double rib dot fucking condoms. Like, I don't care.
I mean, it's ribbed for her pleasure.
Is it though?
I don't know, Beavis and Butthead said it is.
Yeah. Their word is law. So, Billy and Sydney do some on top of the clothes stuff. That seems really fucking lame. But it's the next day now, and the town is buzzing with news of 2 brutal murders in the quiet town of Woodsboro. This is when we get hints that this isn't the first time that horrors have struck this place. Police are all over the school, and they are questioning students to see if they have any inkling as to who committed the crime. Within this scene, we meet the rest of the main cast. Tatum, who's Sydney's best friend, Gail Weathers, a go-getting news reporter, Stu, Tatum's boyfriend, and Billy's best friend, Randy, a movie-obsessed teenager, and fifth wheel to his group of friends, Dewey, Tatum's brother and deputy, helping with the student's interview, and Principal Himbry, who's played by the Fonz. Hey.
Sorry.
I think I've watched maybe one episode of Happy Days in my life.
Did you know that the term jump the shark came from Happy Days?
Nope, didn't even know that was a term.
You've never heard of the term jump the shark?
Nope.
So Kevin is actually probably the one that clarified it for me. But the term "jump the shark" means is when a TV show or a movie gets so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because in Happy Days, there's an episode where Fonzie literally jumps a shark on like a jet ski because they were like, "We're out of fucking ideas. He's gonna jump a goddamn shark."
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Sydney makes her way home, and this is where we learn the horror that the town has seen before, and it occurred almost exactly 1 year prior, when Sydney's mother was brutally raped and murdered allegedly by a man named Cotton Weary. Sydney's father is out of town, so she asks to stay over Tatum's house because she doesn't want to be alone. I don't fucking blame you. Tatum agrees to pick her up after cheerleading practice. Sydney proceeds to fall asleep and wakes up to a phone call a few hours later. From the killer. Bum bum bum. He taunts her on the phone and then attacks her, but slinks away as Billy enters her bedroom window in the same manner as he did the night before. Scared and shaken, fearing for her life, Sydney embraces Billy when a cell phone falls to the ground. Suspicious that Billy may have been the person trying to kill her and making the calls, Sydney runs from him and opens the door to see the ghost face mask and Deputy Dewey screaming in terror on her front lawn. So, him dropping a cell phone doesn't seem odd to us, especially in this day and age. In 1996, that would be weird.
Not many people have them.
No, I got my first cell phone in 2009. No,
I got mine
no.
eighth grade.
2005. Yeah, that's when I got mine. I got mine for my 8th grade graduation in 2005 because I was going into high school. I was taking public transit. My parents wanted to make sure that if I needed help somewhere, I could call.
I got mine in 2001.
Look at you, fancy pants.
Well, I got my driver's license in 2001. So that's my mom wanted me to have a cell phone.
What was your phone?
The first phone? Shit, I don't remember the make of the model. It was Sprint. Oddly enough, I still remember the phone number. It just had like a little green and black screen on it. I could text. I could T9 text. Like,
T9. Those are the days.
And then after that, I got a Nokia one where you could play Snake. And then that was the point at which I switched to AT&T, and I got the Blackjack 2, so I could play Solitaire on it. And then I had a Razor.
That was my first phone.
I eventually had a Razor, but my first one was what was that phone company where everything was the chirp? I was like
chirp.
No, it was kind of like had the Motorola symbol, but
it wasn't T-Mobile.
No, it was like its own. It was
Boost. Was it Boost Mobile?
No.
Cricket.
No, it's like it came out with that first. I can't remember.
No, I had a Razor flip phone.
It was the best phone I ever had. Was the Razor.
I enjoyed it. I loved it because you always knew when a phone call was coming or like a text. Because if you had it near like a electronic, you heard like.
So that's the wireless technology is what it was. It had nothing to do with the phone itself. It was just the
Nextel.
There it is.
Nextel. Okay. Yeah. So Google came up and it said that it was the Sprint and Motorola teamed up to create the Motorola i1, which is the first push-to-talk, aka chirp phone. Because Nextel was the first push-to-talk walkie-talkie technology. So that makes sense.
Yeah, everybody had one, and like it just didn't eat up your minutes because you're talking through the walkie-talkies.
When I started landscaping, our boss would do the walkie-talkie push-to-talk shit so that he could talk to us all the time.
Well, the funny thing is you could just talk to the person. So like in school, you could totally fuck with somebody's day.
Right.
and like just say something profane, like some crazy shit over there, and then it would just automatically go on.
Which in high school you're probably like burp, burp, boobs, and everyone's like,
Ah, someone said boobs.
yeah. Although now it would be like burp burp, and Dan's at work and just like, you're a fucking cum chalice.
Jesus. But yeah, what I was trying to get at is that phones were not a popular thing to have back then. Like if you had one, that was bougie shit. In 1996, if you were a teenager and you had a cell phone, bougie, rich fucking kid. So it's not surprising that she was taken aback by him having it, because it's probably the first time she's seeing that he has it. And it's a high school romance. They probably, they know everything about each other, their 16, 17-year-old selves. So she probably knew he didn't have a phone before, and all of a sudden he has one when a killer is taunting the shit out of her and killing people. So a little scary. At this, Billy is arrested and taken to Woodsboro PD. While there, Dewey and Sydney attempt to locate Sydney's father because he is out of town on business, but he doesn't seem to be registered at the hotel that he said he was staying at. Sid heads back to Tatum's house. It feels as though whoever called her and attacked her had been intercepted when they arrested Billy. Because why would Billy be at her house, and why would he have a cell phone? But before bed, the killer calls Sydney and taunts her yet again, telling her that she has fingered the wrong person. And he makes a jab at the fact that this is something that she's done before, referencing when Sydney testified that she saw Cotton kill her mother a year prior. I did forget to mention that on the way out of the police station, Gail and Sydney run into each other, and Gail is very much trying to be like the most popular news reporter she can be in the world, and she's writing a true crime book before true crime is like this big fucking thing that it is now today, about the Woodsboro murders that, is in reference to Sydney's mother. Sydney gets upset at the interaction and fucking punches her across the face, which is awesome.
Was it a real punch?
Bam! Bitch went down. No, it was choreographed, but it looked real. That's movie magic, baby. So the next day at school, the news of another attack is running through the halls. People are dressed in Ghostface costumes and, running amok, taunting people, amusing everybody but Sydney, it seems. She hustles to the bathroom to escape the hubbub, but runs into Billy, whose hands are stained with ink from being fingerprinted at the police station. They argue about the fact that Sydney isn't over her mother's death and is distant from him, and he brings up the fact that his mother left and he got over it. This is obviously a bad take, since they are wildly different scenarios. His mother went out of town. She's not lying in a coffin somewhere.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's a bad analogy. But it's just that I want my girlfriend back. Sid.
I am sorry if my traumatized life is an inconvenience to you and your perfect existence.
What? Nobody said that. Sid! Stupid.
So the next scene, we see Principal Himry is accosting two students for dressing up like Ghostface, and he expels them. You see Principal Himry peppered in throughout the movie. He comes over the loudspeaker a few times, and, I love the Fonz. I love the Henry Winkler just randomly in this movie. When Sydney finally goes into the bathroom, she hears two girls talking shit on her mother. She hears them talking shit on her mother, and Billy. When she exits the stall after the girls leave, she hears a whisper. It could have been in the fan, but was it? She hears it again. The whisper is calling out her name, and suddenly, Ghostface runs out of the stall and tries to grab Sydney. She makes a run for it and escapes.
Yeah, I have a big problem with this. The first scene that you see, that you find out that it's Ghostface, he puts his shoes down, coming down from where the toilet is.
Yeah, because he's hiding his feet.
And then you see the gown. How do you not know your boyfriend's fucking shoes?
True that,
come, or his best friend's shoes. Get the fuck out of here. You can't tell that that's somebody's shoes that you see every day.
Who she literally saw 2 minutes beforehand.
Yeah, he's been trying to take those damn shoes off and bang you this whole time. You would know those shoes.
Pathetic. Someone there?
Okay, so to talk on what he did, he mentioned. So if you haven't seen Scream, I hate to break it to you, but the killer is Sydney's boyfriend. He wears black boots and black jeans a lot in this movie, or jeans and black boots, and that's what you see coming down from the bathroom stall. Nobody else is wearing that in this movie at all. So it's kind of like that was the probably biggest giveaway amongst other things in this movie. Like after you see it, you can kind of pinpoint like, oh yeah, it's really obvious who's doing all this now. But, you know, I understand his little caveat. So soon thereafter, assuming Sydney told the administration that something had happened to her in the bathroom, classes are canceled at the high school and there is a curfew put in place for the whole town. Because of this, Stu, Tatum's boyfriend and Billy's best friend, decides to throw a party because his parents are out of town. So now we are back with the Fonz when he hears noises outside of his office. School has been dismissed and he is allegedly by himself. Ghostface eventually appears and stabs him after jumping from a door. And he gets a little stabby with the Fonz. Kills him with a pair of scissors. R.I.P. Fonz. Sydney and Tatum are chit-chatting before they are heading to the store to get snacks for Stu's party. They discuss the rumor of Sydney's mother cheating on her dad, and if Billy is really the killer. There's 2 spots in this movie where I'm just like, these scenes weren't not scenes, but these little like snippets weren't necessary, and here's one of them. So they're chit-chatting on I think it's Tatum's porch, I would assume, and talking about Sydney's mother, the fact that she could have possibly been having affairs with multiple men. That was the rumor in the small town of Woodsboro, and Sydney's a little bit offended that her alleged best friend would believe that, and she's like, well, you hear it so many times, like eventually you gotta start thinking that maybe there is some truth to it. Eventually they're like, well, let's just go to the store. I don't want to talk about this anymore. And then they pan to the line of the trees right by the house and you see someone in a Ghostface costume walk by. That's my first problem. My second problem comes when they're actually in the store buying the snacks. Sydney and Tatum are again discussing, the woes of teenagehood and the fact that Sydney and Billy have not had sex yet. And it's basically because she's having intimacy issues because her mother was, brutally murdered and assaulted the year prior. And as they're walking past a cooler, you see in the reflection a person in a Ghostface costume walk by. Why the fuck? Why?
Why the fuck not?
The one in the woods, I'll give them.
I don't remember that.
The one in the woods, I'll give them. Ghostface, whomever it is at that moment in time, is stalking them. Fine. Stalking Sydney. Whatever. I can accept that. But you're telling me that a store clerk isn't like, bro, what the fuck you doing? As he's walking around slinking in a Ghostface costume when multiple people have been fucking murked at this point or attacked? Like, why? Like, the whole town is on curfew because someone in a Ghostface costume is harassing them. Similar to, this town that dreaded sundown, which is a quote from this movie. They're like, oh, wow, it feels like that movie, which is something we covered a few episodes ago. And, which is a nice little nod to that movie because I actually really enjoyed that movie. I think I did. If I didn't in the actual episode, looking back on it, I did. But it's like, why? Why? The cooler one I found so unnecessary. And that's like the only part of this movie I don't like because they have cameras in convenience stores, maybe not in a small town, but you're telling me nobody noticed this bro walking around? And at the end, you find out who the killer is. So you're telling me they also didn't see so-and-so walking around prior and then putting it on? Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, and I don't like it.
Well, that's after seeing it like 20 times.
Yeah, but like, is it...
First time, you're like, who is it? Who is it? Who is
they're
it?
like, oh my God, the killer's right there. But is it actually the killer, or is it someone goofing around in the costume? I think that...
never know.
We won't because,
Da-da-da-da.
That's a question I would ask Kevin Williamson to his face. Be like, why did you write that? Because it's dumb.
Closure.
Okay, so then there is an interesting interaction between Randy, Stu, and Billy at the video store where Randy works. Randy full on thinks Billy is the killer. However, he is in love with Sydney, so he could be just a little bit biased, and, his jealousy is kind of speaking more towards that than actual facts. Stu defends Billy, but Billy overhears Randy talking shit and gets in Randy's face about it.
I have a question for you, Matt. What was your VHS store called that you got like rented videos from? Because everywhere here, it was Blockbuster.
We had Blockbuster and Family Video. We also had Preferred Video, was like the local one.
Okay. I was just wondering if Blockbuster made it all the way out there.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like a place that has a back room.
Well, by the time I was old enough to know what was happening, Family Video was the only one with like the curtain.
Was it the beads?
Have you ever rented a VHS?
I had VHS? Yes. Have I rented them? No.
Never rented VHS?
I'm talking about porn.
Oh,
Yeah.
porn?
By the time I was 18, so by the time I was old enough to rent it, the internet was plentiful. I mean, you were getting one line at a time, getting like nipple. You get areola,
Yeah.
top nip.
Or you could be a dumb teenager like me and just leave it in the search bar.
Jesus Christ.
And then,
I mean, I got owned by history. That's why I got an IT, because I just learned to cover my tracks from looking at pornography.
that's how all the great IT guys.
And that's
turn
literally
out.
like that dog in 101 Dalmatians that's taking the brush and just
Oh.
sweeping his paw prints
I got-
away as he walks.
So we had a family computer, and I got caught the same exact way with a window. I had a window still open.
I have a pretty. Oh, that's pretty bad. I have there was my dad, and I know it wasn't me because I would have admitted it at this point. He had found a printed off novelization pornog under the couch in the basement and confronted my brother and I about it. And I'm like, oh, what? I can't compare.
It was your brother's?
I don't know what you want, bud. It had to be. Like, if it was my dad's, he wouldn't be confronting us, and it wasn't mine.
What are those books called? What are the women books called?
Romance novels?
No, they call them like what's the slang word term for them?
It's just romance. They just literally call them romance novels
Oh,
with like
okay.
Fabio on the cover.
Smut.
So now it's party time at Stu's house. It appears to be a larger affair than originally planned. Dozens of kids filtering in and out at all times, drinking, dancing, and doing all the things that teenagers do at parties. Gail is there scoping out for a story, and Dewey drops off his sister and Sydney, which I always found kind of weird that he knew that there was underage drinking going on, and he's like, yeah, there's a killer amongst us, but yeah, sure, let these kids just fucking drink and it's illegal, but whatever.
Got to do something.
I guess. While he knows, I even wrote it. While he knows there is underage drinking going on, he ignores this. His main priority is to make sure everyone's safe. I even fucking wrote that. Good job, past Erika.
I thought his main concern was getting it with the reporter.
Well, he didn't know that she was going to be there at first. He was just there with Sydney and Tatum, and then he ran into them.
I thought he was like, "I'll take you."
He ran into her because she was slinking in the dark in her fucking news van. He's like, what the hell are you doing here? And then they're like, oh, I got a flashlight. Let's go for a walk. Because that's smart. Tatum goes to fetch beer in the garage at some point for Stu and a few others, but is met by Ghostface. I'm skipping some party stuff that's unimportant. It's basically Gail and Dewey walking in, Gail placing a camera in the house, little bullshit stuff like that, and party interactions. So Tatum initially thinks that it's Randy in the costume in the garage, but after Ghostface slices her arm, she realizes this is the real deal and this is the actual killer. She does her best to defend herself and is able to get away at first, but she attempts to crawl out of a doggy door via the garage, and Ghostface hits the button and Tatum is smashed into the ceiling and it crushes her skull.
Which would never happen in real life.
That's coming from a construction expert right there. Could you get hurt? Probably, but
Yes.
more so it probably rising and then you falling.
But the second that she goes past the beam,
Mhm.
the sensor, the fucking thing would stop and go the other direction.
And that was the thought that I had, because like I know I've had garages close on me before you had the fucking laser eye and shit, and as soon as it hits something, it just goes back up. Like they're made to not kill people.
Yeah.
I think it would have been more realistic if like
Or maybe it's just they made that after this movie.
it
They were just killing
rose
people.
and then like the weight of her, like it collapsed the garage door and it crushed her that way. But I think they wanted the visual effect of her dangling.
I think you could definitely pick her up.
No, that's what I'm
you know,
saying. I
definitely
think
from installing them. But
Yeah.
I think it could hold the weight for sure.
yeah. I think if anything, that would be more realistic. But again, I mean, there's a few things that they stretch in this film, but most of the kills are fairly like logistically possible. This is the only one that's like, probably not. So back at the party, things are beginning to break up due to the curfew being soon. Sid is looking for Tatum, but she's nowhere to be found because she did. Billy shows up at the very last minute and asks to speak to Sydney alone. And they go up to Stu's parents' bedroom to talk or whatever, as Stu would say. Randy is annoyed by this because he thought he had some sort of shot, but it looks like Billy and Sydney are going to rekindle their romance. Billy and Sid talk out their bullshit, blah, 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 blah. They apologize to one another, and then they consent to having sex with one another. And this is to Billy's surprise. I don't think that he thought that that part of his master plan was going to come to fruition. There is a thing, we've already established that Billy is one of the killers in this movie, but there's a thing that I watched today and I still don't notice it, but apparently Skeet Ulrich, who's the guy who plays Billy, I don't know, is it Ulrich or is it Ulrich? I never know how to pronounce that.
Ulrich.
Skeet. Skeet.
I'll ski, motherfucker. I'll ski, goddamn.
Goddamn. But apparently Skeet spoke with Wes, and he was like, while I'm talking with Sydney or kissing Sydney or, whatever, he's like, I want to have a moment where I look at the door to make sure that it's unlocked for the killer to come in and attack me. And Wes really liked this idea, so he had him do it. I still don't notice it. I want to watch the scene again later, but I don't notice him ever really looking at the door. Every scene seems to be him talking to Sydney and looking at her. When he kisses her, he's not facing the door. The only time he's ever facing the door to look at it is when he goes to lay on top of her. I mean, if that's it, well, I can't see his fucking face, but clearly he's looking at the door. Either way, it was a new thing that I learned recently that I thought I would share. If anybody wants to verify that, please go on. So downstairs, while there's fucking going on upstairs, the Stragglers are watching Halloween from 1978, one of our fan faves over here, when Randy regales them with the rules of how to successfully survive a horror movie.
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie. For instance, number 1, you can never have sex. No. Big no-no. Big no.
I'm a dead man.
Sex equals death, okay? Number 2, you can never drink or do drugs. No, the sin factor. It's a sin. It's an extension of number 1. And number 3, never, ever, ever, under any circumstances say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back.
I'm getting another beer. You want one?
Yeah, sure.
I'll be right back.
You see, you push the laws and you end up dead. Okay, I'll see you in the kitchen with a knife.
Gail and Dewey decide to take a walk while the kids are partying when they come upon Neil Prescott's car that is pushed into a bunch of brush off the side of the road. Dewey knows this isn't a good sign, and they hurry up back to the house. So the remaining teens then leave the party before Dewey and Gail get back because they find out that Principal Himry was hanging off of the goalpost on the football field at the high school. So everybody but Randy seems to have left to go see this, which is just shows how desensitized kids are. After having sex, Sydney and Billy are confronted by the killer. Sydney escapes from the house after, running all through it and seeks help from Kenny, Gail's cameraman, but the killer fatally slashes his throat. Sydney escapes the van and still runs away, leaving Kenny to die, unfortunately. Sydney eventually gets into Dewey's police car and locks the door, but the killer taunts her in there as well. Gail goes back to the van and she finds that there is blood all over the ground and blood all over the windshield. She attempts to escape and flee the area in the car, but Kenny's body flops onto the windshield and she crashes because she almost hits Sydney with the van. Some people believe that Gail died in this car wreck, but no. She's still... When Sydney tries to make her way back into the house after running outside from the killer, she runs into Dewey, who has what at first is a fatal stab wound to the back, but that didn't test well with audiences, so they made Dewey come back to life. The killer takes the knife out of his back, and that is actually when Sydney goes into the car and tries to radio for backup. Randy and Stu show up after Sydney acquires a gun, and they both accuse each other of being the killer, but Sydney retreats back inside the house where she finds Billy wounded. After they let Randy inside, Sydney gives Billy the gun, and Billy shoots and injures Randy, revealing himself to be the killer. And Stu, who comes in from the kitchen, reveals himself to be the second killer by talking into a voice changer that he has used, and so has Billy, to taunt them over the phone. Billy and Stu corner Sydney in the kitchen and discuss their plan to kill her and pin the murder spree on her father, whom they have taken hostage. They also reveal that they raped and murdered her mother and framed Cotton for it, as she was having an affair with Billy's father, which drove his mother away.
Wait, they raped her?
See, here's the thing with that.
I don't remember that.
They say in every time they talk about Sydney's mother that she was brutally raped and murdered. And now, in this timeline, Maureen, Sydney's mother, does have sex with Cotton Weary that night, and he left her house. That's when Billy and Stu went into the house and attacked her. I don't know if they additionally assaulted her or if they just murdered her and staged it, because Sydney sees someone leave wearing Cotton's coat that had blood all over it from her house, and that's when Sydney goes in and finds her mother all fucked up and dead. It was Billy who was wearing the coat, because if you look at Liev Schreiber, who plays Cotton Weary in the next, he plays it in this one and up until Scream 3, he has like the fucking 90s, grease flop hair that Billy has, so they look very similar. I think that
it'd be a lot darker if he did.
I'm pretty sure that they did, because the only reason I think that is because when they go to stab themselves in the kitchen, Stu says, like, to amp Billy up, he's just like, yeah, man, get it up, and goes to stab him. I feel like that was like dialogue they said to each other when they were attacking and killing Maureen, because that was their first murder.
Or like, get it up?
Yeah, get your dick up. Like, it is dark. It is a very fucking dark thing to say, but like, I definitely think that that's most likely what happened, unfortunately. But, at the end of the day, this is not a fucking real story. So, anyway. Gail eventually intervenes, and it allows Sydney to escape and turn the tables on her killers, taunting them with a phone call and donning the killer's costume before knocking Billy out and dropping a television set on Stu's head, killing him. Now, mind you, this is after Billy and Stu have stabbed each other. Well, Billy got stabbed once, and Stu gets stabbed a bunch of times, because at the end, Billy was going to be the sole survivor. He had no intention of letting Stu survive. If anything, he was going to pin everything on Stu if the whole plot to frame Neil didn't work out, in my mind. An enraged Billy awakens and attacks Sydney, but Gail shoots him and injures him. Randy is revealed to be wounded but alive, and remarks that the killer will always resurface for one last scare. As Billy rises, Sydney shoots Billy in the head, finally killing him for good. As police arrive, Dewey is badly injured but is taken away by ambulance as Gail makes an impromptu news report about the night's events. And that is the film. Now, before we get into questions of the dam, I do have one thing I wanted to kind of go over with you guys. So, there's always an interesting debate with this movie. It's always like the who killed who. So, I want to hear who you think between Billy and Stu killed this specific person. And attacks as well. So, Casey and Steve, who killed them? Fucking don't jump at once to answer.
Stu.
I never gave any thought to any of this, so I don't really know, to be honest.
Well, I'm trying to give you to...
I think Stu did most of the killing.
Was not Stu. Stu was with Tatum. Billy killed them.
And that's the thing, is like, I wouldn't have even been able to think that one through.
I mean, Billy went, after he murdered them, he went to Sydney to try to fucking, to fuck. But, so there's that. So, okay, so the attack at Sydney's house. Who did that?
That would be Stu. Because he was there.
Based on the look on her face, it's Billy.
Still Billy?
So, Billy did the physical attack. Stu probably did the phone calls.
I mean, he did have the recorder.
Yeah, because the cell phone Billy had didn't have any traces of those calls. So it was literally just to do a cloak and dagger. Well, no, not a cloak and dagger, a bait and switch. To make it seem like he was, to rule out future, like, Billy is the killer. So it's like, okay, I'm arrested, but I'm proven that I wasn't the killer. So it makes it even better when that bitch finds out I am the killer. Okay, so the bathroom attack, that one's easy.
That's got to be Billy.
Yes, that would be Billy attacking in the bathroom because she pissed him off. And if you actually listen to the voice that lunges at her, like the and the Sydney, sounds like Billy. Now the Himbry attack, the Himbry kill, that one.
Could it be both?
That could have been either of them. I don't know who killed Principal Himbry because I think it would take a lot of effort for one.
So I feel like for every kill, both were on standby. So some kills, they probably did things together.
Yeah, I think the Himbry was a duo thing because so they had to prop him up on, a goalpost.
Yeah.
So that's going to be hard.
Effort.
Yeah, especially in the fucking broad daylight. All right, so who killed Tatum? Who do you think killed Tatum? This one was confirmed, so I know who killed this one. Matt.
I legitimately don't fucking know.
That one was Billy because Stu was inside with the other group of friends. And that's after he kills her, Billy jumps at the front door to startle them. The Sydney bedroom chase is pretty obvious because Billy was just attacked. So clearly that was Stu, and he chases her all throughout the outside trying to get her. And when you see Stu without the Ghostface costume on, he's fucking drenched in sweat because he's been chasing that bitch while wearing a sweater in California. So the Dewey attack and the Sydney car attack. The Dewey attack could possibly be Billy because he's inside the house and Stu was outside, but the Sydney car attack was Stu. So these are just fun things that people constantly debate, but Skeet Ulrich Skeet confirmed that he did the Tatum. So that's a good one. All right, so now that we've gone through the film, the Mercs, let's do questions of the damned. All right, Dan, you're going to get the first question. Okay. So, scene 118 is the infamous finale of Scream. It is the entire party sequence. How many minutes did that scene last at the party? 25 minutes, 31 minutes, 42 minutes, 54 minutes.
What was the second number?
31. So 25, 31, 42, 54.
31.
Could you please take the number, please?
25, 31, 42, 54.
25. Shit. Okay. Well, it's not 54, so I guess
it's 41.
I can't give it to either one.
Why?
Because
that's not how this game works, Daniel.
We've been doing this long enough, you know. It was 42 minutes long.
Shit.
They actually got shirts made that said, "We survived scene 118." All right, Matthew.
Mm-hmm.
What was the name of the janitor the principal talks to before he is murdered? Charles, Fred, Michael, or Jason?
Fuck. I want to say Charles because it's Dan's brother. But I want to say Jason because this is a slasher movie and that's what they do. I'm going to go with Jason.
It's Fred.
Fuck.
Daniel gets 1 point.
Okay.
It is Fred, and it was actually Wes.
He goes, "Shut up, Fred."
Yeah. No, he says, "Not you, Fred."
Ah, that's what it is.
Because he opens the door, he's like, "Goddamn kids." And he's like, "What'd you call me?" And actually, that was Wes Craven dressed as Freddy Krueger as a janitor.
That's what I remember, and I'm like, he's going to fucking get this question.
Yeah, he's wearing a red and green sweater.
Oh, shit. Okay. Yeah, Fred the janitor.
Yep, Fred the janitor.
Oh, shit.
All right, Daniel.
Yeah.
How many days did Drew Barrymore shoot? 3, 5, 8, 14. How many days? Anytime.
5.
Look at you, 2 for 2 right now. All right, Matthew. What actor turned down the role of playing Billy? Liev Schreiber, Matthew Lillard, David Arquette, or Jamie Kennedy?
I don't know. I want to say Liev Schreiber because I think he's the only one not in this movie.
No, he is. He plays Cotton Weary. They're all in this movie.
Okay.
He's in a news scene. They only show him in
okay.
news footage, but he isn't technically in this movie.
Could you say the question again, please?
Liev Schreiber, Matthew Lillard, David Arquette, Jamie Kennedy.
Not just the fucking options, though.
Like who they play?
The question, please.
Oh, what actor turned down the role of playing Billy?
Okay.
So Cotton, Stu, Dewey, or Randy?
I'm going to say Matthew Lillard because I love him. Yeah, that's why fucking whatever. Just get this piece of shit I hate this movie.
So the guy who played Cotton, the guy who played Stu, which is opposite of Billy.
Randy.
What is wrong with you guys? David Arquette.
Oh.
He was offered.
Fucking, we don't like this movie's. Oh, why is it spicy?
All right, Matthew, or Daniel, actually. Last question, and for a potential win. For most of the film, a stuntman donned the Ghostface outfit. Which scene did Skeet actually wear it and insisted on wearing it? While killing Casey, when attacking Sydney in the bathroom, while almost stabbing Randy, or while taunting Sydney in the cop car? So, the killing Casey sequence, attacking Sydney in the bathroom, almost stabbing Randy while he's watching Halloween, or while taunting Sydney in the cop car.
Cop car.
I legitimately don't know, so I'm going to need you to read the whole shit.
Okay. For most of the film, a stuntman donned the Ghostface outfit.
Yep.
Which scene did Skeet insist on wearing it while killing Casey, when he attacked Sydney in the bathroom, while almost stabbing Randy while watching Halloween, or while taunting Sydney in the cop car?
I don't know. Taunting Sydney?
That's what I just said.
Is it? I thought you said the Randy one. Your boy's been drinking. Okay. So my backup, before you make the sound.
No, I made the sound. It's already done.
No, you didn't. I didn't hear it. It doesn't count. My backup would have been Randy, which I also believe is going to be a no bueno. I don't know this movie for shit. I thought that was Dan's original choice. This is what happens when you get me on a day when I'm hungover, and then I'm trying to drink away the pain, and then just drink more. And also took fucking 6 goddamn hours to record this fucking episode because it's your wet dream.
Wow, can you shut your fucking mouth?
Shut your fucking face, Uncle Fucker.
Oh,
I'm really proud of Dan for winning.
I came back and I won.
Yeah, so actually, the killing Casey scene, when the Ghostface kind of pops through the window and they're struggling, and she's like holding the phone, and she punches Ghostface in the face with the cell phone, or not the cell phone, the handheld phone, if you remember that. That's actually Wes Craven, and she really punched him in the face.
Ooh.
Shit, all right.
She was mad at him because to get her to cry, because Roger Jackson, who voices the Ghostface voice, that's not an actual voice changer. That is a man named Roger Jackson. He was on set the whole time, and he would call all the people on the actual phone and feed lines. So he would have Roger Jackson read to her really graphic animal abuse stories, and it would make her cry because she still is a really big animal advocate, just to make her elicit the emotion, and get her really rattled and upset. So she was really pissed off that, he did that. So she took the opportunity and fucking walloped him in the face. Warranted, Drew Barrymore.
Absolutely.
So that's Scream. By the time this comes out, I don't know if anything will have changed with Scream 6, but as it stands, Nev Campbell will not be in Scream 6 because of salary disputes, because they're just not paying her what she's worth, and she's standing up for herself, and I think it's really awesome. As disappointed as I will be to not see Sydney in a Scream 6 movie, which I think they're going to fucking pony up the dough because everybody is coming out in her defense. David Arquette, Jamie Kennedy, anybody who's been really involved with the franchise, they're sticking up for her. They're being like, yeah, she is Scream. You don't have a Scream movie without Sydney fucking Prescott, so it makes no sense why you wouldn't let her grow with it. Right. She's literally getting chased by this motherfucker for 5 films, now almost 6, and you don't want to pay her.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
It's going to be a cash money deal.
And Scream 5, now whatever your opinion is on the franchise, I know they're corny. I know that they're outlandish. I know it's crazy to think that one woman would literally be involved in all of these stories at all times. I think the first 3, they make sense for what they are. 4, I like it. I just don't like the characters who play the killers. 5 was fucking bananas, but I still enjoyed the shit out of how violent and how genuinely spooked. It still scared me. It definitely got me on the edge of my seat. But I liked how, the legacy character, she took a back seat. I don't know what her role would be in Scream 6 at this point, but she still should get fucking paid. It's everything we've learned recently in this last year with the whole Johnny Depp stuff. And I know you guys did not probably watch an ounce of that trial. I watched a majority of it because it was on while I worked. So I just listened to the audio. And during all that, I found out that Johnny Depp had a pay to play clause in his contract. That man got paid $16 million for shooting for 1 day in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them 3. And they cut his whole fucking part and got someone else to play the role. But because he filmed that 1 day, they had to pay him his full salary. Hollywood does the weirdest shit. And you're telling me that you cannot give the face of one of the highest grossing horror movie franchises her fucking dough? That's bullshit. And her statement was true. She said, she's like, I just didn't feel like my value, I work hard as a woman to be in this industry and to show my value. And I'm just not going to settle for that. And I fucking commend her. Because she's not like a piece of shit that, you know, she does these movies and then like mocks them relentlessly or, you know, ignores fans. She is at expos. She is at cons. She will literally sign for hours and meet and greet her fans for hours. She doesn't have to do that shit. Most leading ladies in fucking films like this don't, that are at her caliber, who have done so much more outside of just a horror movie franchise. Because you don't see like Jamie Lee Curtis doing this stuff. You see B-list actresses, like, and there's no offense to them, that have been in multiple horror movies, but like that's really all they've ever done. Like the girl who played, oh my god, was her name Nancy in the first Friday or Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yeah, Heather Langenkamp.
Yeah, she goes to like, I'll see her at cons and stuff, but like I can't.
I've met her a couple times.
Yeah, I can't place her at any other movie or oh my god, the girl from Sleepaway Camp,
Felissa Ross.
Yeah, like I've never seen her in any other movies except a horror movie.
Got real drunk with her one time.
You live an interesting life, but that's all I'm saying.
Party
like,
and I go to horror conventions. I don't know what to tell you.
But like, yeah, but as someone who goes to horror conventions, you know the regulars that go there, and then you know the people that really don't make the time. And she makes the fucking time, and she really does not have to. And she, any video I ever see of her and any person I've ever known that has actually met her has said that she is like the most humble, appreciative, and awesome person to meet and just chat with. And I love that. And I genuinely hope that she gets fucking paid and they, you know, they get her in it. But if they don't, I'm glad that she took a stand for herself. But anyway, with that, I know we're all tired because we've been talking for a long time because my throat's getting a little scratchy and I got places to be tomorrow.
It's spicy.
Yeah, I know. It's spicy.
Why is it spicy?
You do it so fucking good. So good. It's time for the final segment of the show, Yay, Nay, or Slay. So this movie for me, 100% is a yay, without question. Easy peasy. My favorite horror movie. It got me into horror movies, like truly as, you know, an adolescent. You know, my dad showed me horror movies growing up, but this was like one that was my own, that was in my generation. And I fucking love it. I think it's one of the greatest horror movies to ever be made. I think it breathed new life. I don't think you have a multitude of movies without this movie. So yay, triple yay. I love it. Daniel?
Oh, of course this is a yay. You know, just it brings out like the Halloween feel when the time comes around. It reminds me, I like every time I watch it I think of you. So yeah.
I mean, it came out on December 20th. It's a Halloween movie. It's a Christmas movie. It's an every time of the year movie, honestly, because I think it takes place in summer as well.
Yeah, and there's just so many like hidden things within it. There's just so much little details with all the, you know, things that they throw back to other horror movies. Just the character detail that goes throughout it. It's a lot of fun.
I agree. Matthew?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going by yay. Mm-hmm.
Can you say yay in the spicy voice?
I'm going to give it a yay.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a really good movie, and for what it is, it's I always fuck with Erika because I'm like, oh, Scream 17 is coming out, because not only has Scream done the same shit over and over, but now other movies are doing the same shit over and over, and it's just like we're having a really hard time getting away from it. But I guess that also is a testament to just how good and how solid of a movie and concept it is that we just keep doing the same shit over and over. But it doesn't stop me from watching the movies.
For sure.
I like too, and like the later ones too, like they make fun of themselves, like with coming out like Stab, and all this other stuff. Like I think that's pretty cool.
And that's what's always great about this movie is because it always makes fun of itself. Like from the very first one, and this will, you know, I'm not trying to go into another diatribe, but another interview I saw with Skeet, he said that he actually had no idea that there was comedy elements to this film until he saw it, because when he was acting opposite people that were more like comic relief, he didn't get why they were like so jokey, because a majority of his scenes are arguments, him attacking someone, him trying to murder someone. Like he has no fucking funny lines in this movie at all. He has no like like he has nothing. He's not like Stu, who's like, you fucking hit me with the phone, dick, like, and stuff like that. He has none of those types of lines, even though that was ad-libbed by Matthew Lillard, which is awesome because Skeet accidentally dropped the phone because the corn syrup was legit slippery. It hit him in the head and he got pissed. But so I always I love how even though this movie is, you know, fucking old, it's really getting up there. It's still just as great as it ever was, and I'm really happy that we covered it. And I've been waiting for this for a really long time, and thank you guys for coming on the journey with me. I love you guys.
Love you too.
Mm-hmm.
Say it.
Mm-mm.
Say it.
I love you too.
Careful. This is the moment when the supposedly dead killer comes back to life for one last scare.